Holy shit.
Fuck. What's up, movie lover badasses? Fat Samurai Guy here with Lady Fat Blood. Today we're going to review Bone Tomahawk. Here's a quick plot synopsis. 4 men set out in the Wild West to rescue a group of captives from a mysterious enemy. Now we're going to give you the good, we're going to give you the bad, we're going to give you the badass. First up, the good.
Whew.
Yes.
Oh.
We made it through.
Oh. Alright, so the good. We have a really nice cast here. We have the legendary, one of my personal favorites, Mr. Kurt Russell. Basically leading the cast, a nice little ensemble cast. You've got Patrick Wilson, you've got Matthew Fox. We have a really, really brief cameo by the equally legendary Sid Haig. So we've got really great performances all around. This movie was made for not even quite $2 million, and I don't even believe it took 30 days to make.
That's crazy.
You really wouldn't know it.
Crazy.
The sets, everything looks exactly the way it's supposed to look. Set in late 1800s, Old West America, obviously. I will say this: I knew absolutely nothing going into this film.
As did I.
And I highly recommend that if you can tolerate a Western with a Western pacing, I recommend do not read anything into this movie and go into it with a clean slate and just have patience. And yeah, I'm dying to hear what you think.
And now for the bad.
As we stated, this is a Western with traditional Western pacing. This will automatically cut about maybe a good 65% of movie audiences right out of the equation. I am the first to admit Westerns are not my favorite genre. You have to have, first of all, you have to have really good actors for me to even be remotely interested. That's why I love Tombstone. That's why I watched Unforgiven. And it can't be just either or. And you have to have a good story involved. And this is. I feel really bad for the people who can't handle slow burn movies and who don't have the patience, because this movie does take a while to get into gear. It introduces what you're in for in about the first 10 minutes, and then it is literally nothing but character development. Pure, unadulterated character development.
Good character development.
I loved it because what the movie ends up becoming, you needed to know who these people were to give a shit. How dare you, director, make us give a shit about your characters? It's worthy to note also that the director, S. Craig Zoller, I think. He's a novelist. He's a screenwriter. I believe this is his first directorial adventure, and bravo.
Yeah.
There's very little to nitpick. I found the pacing fine, but a lot of people are not going to be able to put up with this. I've heard some people say that this movie is well made, but it's a bad movie because it's boring. And they only watch the first hour.
Yeah.
This movie is over 2 hours long, as you do with a Western. And
Wow.
I gotta tell you, bud, you fucking missed out.
Wow.
You really missed out.
Just an hour. And then this person just turned it off or left.
Yeah. And
wow.
To be fair,
man,
I understand, but
you got to give movies a chance, though. You got to give movies a chance. You got to watch it to the beginning all the way to the end. You may be pleasantly surprised, and that's happened to us a lot in the past, where we weren't not feeling this movie at all, or watching the movie and we just weren't feeling it. And then we're just like, oh my god, end. And then all of a sudden, the last like 30 minutes, we were like, holy shit, this movie's awesome.
Or you see a trailer and the movie doesn't look interesting,
Right.
and then you give it a shot and
Yeah.
it surprises you. I didn't think this movie was boring. Was it slow? Absolutely.
Yeah.
It had a lot of slow moments, but it was all necessary. There wasn't really anything that didn't belong in it. There were maybe just a couple of things here and there that I was like, well, he didn't really need that. Oh, screw it. Didn't matter.
Yeah.
Ultimately, any nitpicks for me didn't matter because it did not ruin my experience with the film.
And now for the badass. All right, so you have different types of westerns, okay? You have the classic old school westerns from the past, like High Noon, okay? Then you have the fun Italian spaghetti westerns, and you have more recent westerns like the True Grit remake and 310 to Yuma remake. This is something totally different. We are warning you right now. There may be some disturbing elements in this film, because what the director does a great, awesome job with is not only building suspense, but basically making the world feel so realistically frightening. I mean, this movie felt real to the point where there were moments that there was no suspense building and shit happened and shit went down and we were like, holy shit, man, this is crazy.
I'm going to pay this movie a very high compliment in two parts. The first part is, it is going to be a long time before I watch this movie again. The second part is, I have never been so relieved to see the credits roll as I have been with this movie. I've said certain things in the past without spoiling anything, that there are certain things in a certain genre of film that bug the living hell out of me. And none of that happened in this film, which I was eternally grateful for. And again, not knowing anything going into this movie, I actually felt on edge.
Yes.
I don't usually get that way with movies, and that was the beauty of knowing zilch going into this. I was expecting a regular Western with Kurt Russell, so I was expecting, a great performance.
Maybe a good story.
Yeah, a good story. And what I got was something completely different, which I am eternally grateful for, because I don't get to experience movies like this because, first of all, this was a soft release. It was released in selective theaters and mostly on video on demand, and we rented it. And usually in the world of cinema, everything gets spoiled. You read a plot synopsis or you see a trailer to something and you see everything here and there. I am so glad I knew absolutely nothing going into this. And it made me feel things watching a movie that I have not felt since I was younger, when movies actually affected me more on an anxiety level. I was actually really anxious. I was actually reacting watching this film. I had moments where I was doing, oh, it's so rare that I get to experience that.
Crazy.
And another really great thing, there was some really great bits of dialogue. I liked the dialect that they used. Obviously, the guy that directed it also wrote it. He used very deliberate speech patterns. The language obviously was understandable, but it was just different. I really liked how they structured the language in this movie. I enjoyed some of the dialogue. There's a line at the end of this movie that made us both have just goosebumps, and we were just like, oh, that was beautiful. So overall, what we were given was a wonderful surprise. Well shot, well written, well directed, well acted. A great sense of isolation. I don't want to oversell this movie, but I highly recommend that if you can handle a Western-paced film. Just remember that. Traditionally Western-paced, not Tombstone-paced. Okay, I'm talking Unforgiven-paced, where it's character build-up. We have legitimate character build-up in this.
Story-driven.
Which I adored for this film. I highly recommend you make an effort to rent this film.
Highly recommend.
We're gonna do a Blu-ray buy at one point, even though it's gonna be hard to rewatch this. It's gonna be a while. I will eventually rewatch this.
Oh yeah.
But it's gonna be a while. just try to give it a shot.
So we give Bone Tomahawk 4.5 out of 5 stars. Alright, that's it for today's review. Let us know if you've seen Bone Tomahawk. Let us know in the comments below what you thought about it. And let us know what your favorite Western is. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And we'll see you next time.